Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about palettes I almost bought, but then there was a spark or something that, yeah, in the end I didn't pick the palette. So if you want to see what I picked or didn't pick, then just keep on watching. Also, disclaimer, this video idea is not for me. I watched it from Agnieszka. I love the idea, so I thought it would do that as well. Of course, I did not pick up these palettes, just so you know. So this is like a pretend game. Like we talk about the palettes I almost bought, or I like thought about it, had a double take, you know, all the good things, and I was like, maybe, but then in the end I didn't pick them up. So let's jump right in. I have, I think, 16 palettes, which it's a little bit odd, but we will deal with that. I do though have a good mixture of like new palettes as well as old palettes. I feel like especially at the end of last year there were a lot of releases I really digged and I just didn't like end up with them. So let's maybe start with some more drugstore. I would say it's not really drugstore, guys, but it's like the Beauty Bay palettes. I have two. I really like it did a double take, still did not like pull the trigger. One is the Rich palette, or one of those, like maybe scooch a little bit here. Those are the Rich palettes. They released them last year, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, in August. And these ones are like rich brown palettes, as you can tell. There are three different types, which I feel like is quite recently the thing for Beauty Bay, that they release like different formats, like 9 pen, 16 pen, and then 42 pen palettes. Listen, I had my eyes on the 16 pen. I do own two 16 pen palettes by Beauty Bay, and I do enjoy them quite a bit. I also enjoy their normal palettes like the Wilderness or the Red to Love, you know, that they have like a bigger mixture of colors. But these ones, I don't know what it is. I'm still drawn to it. It's like browns, it's like deep rich browns, it's orangey browns. I do love orangey browns. So for me, this is still pending somehow, but at the moment, again, I did not like pick this up in August, and I don't feel like the need to pick it up, to be honest. But again, it's still drawing me in like crazy, and I can't tell you, you know, I wish, but still I did not pick that up. The same goes for the quite recent release, and that's the Smoky palette. Yeah, it's a Smoky. Again, same concept. We have 9, 16, and 42 pens. And the point in this one, again, is I don't own like a black white palette with that many variety. Let's say it like this. I do own like the Kaleidos one, which is a quad, and I do love that. I mostly never use it because I normally don't wear like blacks, grays, and all the things. But the same goes like for this. I talked with a friend and she said, well, that's a great palette if you don't like are close to ColourPop, you don't want to order from ColourPop. I think this is the Smoking Something palette they have in their collection, where you have 9, like a 9 pen palette with grays and white and black. And I feel like this is, if you're not like from the US, if you're from Europe, this palette is one of those if you're like, listen, I don't want to order from ColourPop, but I do want a similar result. And I feel like, again, it is still drawing me in somehow. I really think it's pretty. Again, I just don't see myself using it quite a lot. Does that mean I have like, we don't know about the palettes I don't quite a lot use. But yeah, it's just like, I'm still thinking about it. I didn't pick it up again because I normally don't use a lot of grays and blacks. Again, the same goes not for the Rich palette. I do use a ton of like orangey browns, but again, it's somehow, I just didn't pull the trigger. Another brand and two palettes by that brand is Nomad Cosmetics. Nomad Cosmetics released last year the, what is it? The Gold and Grit palette. I don't know if you remember the time where I'm like, listen, if they were from Germany or in Europe available, I would pick that up so fast. And the problem with this is first of all, it's an American brand. We do have like shipping that is horrendous, and then you wait like 15,000 years to get it at the end. But I loved the palette, and I talked about a friend with her about this palette, and she was like, listen, that's a cool tone palette. You don't like cool tone palette? Listen, I don't, but it's like so pretty. I saw it like with other people, I saw it with other influencers, and I just like was, oh god, these colors. And again, you can definitely tell I do sometimes like doing the cool tone thing. It's just not my favorite at all, but again, it's so pretty. Yeah, but in the end I did not pick that up because again, it did not like come to Europe. It was like a little bit more difficult, and the same goes for the newest, I feel like the newest release, if they did not release tomorrow, their next release, and this is the Dark and Dazzling palette. This is also so damn pretty, and you will see it's also cool tone palette, you know, with purples and blues. Like, listen, I did a double take with this one as well. Like, the shimmers are just gorgeous. There are also warm tones as well. We do have like a more peachy, warm pink. We do have a peachy color. I do love that. Again, Nomad is one of those brands, after trying the Hudson Valley palette, I really, really enjoyed the quality, and I feel like I should like pick them up, but now it's like a little too late, you know what I mean? Like, if I buy it now, nobody would care. I don't think, like, leave it down in the comments if you would, but I probably won't think that people would be interested in videos reviewing these palettes or bringing these palettes on my channel. So for me, that is like the reason I'm like, listen, I don't need to pick them up now, you know? So yeah, that's why I skipped on these. I don't know if you know, but I do have two Blend Bunny Cosmetics palettes. I do enjoy the quality quite a lot. I think I have two, Surge and Lure, if I'm not mistaken. And this one was really tickling me, and this was their Halloween release, which was the Sickly Sweet collection, and the Sickly Sweet palette was a pastel palette. I think this is so damn cute. The only problem I have is that I have like a pastel palette, which, I mean, that's not like the main, but it's also like, these were quite, I don't know if it's the layout, and it probably is, but I just can't figure out a look. And there are some palettes where you're like, okay, you right now know what you want to do, you see them, you know exactly what you want to do, you know, they're not trickling your artsy or like experimental side. And then there are palettes where it's like they are so artsy that you can't even think of one look that you could do together. And I feel like this is the case for me in this palette. I do enjoy that she did not do like the normal way she does like palettes where she goes from like deep, medium, light, pastel, and so on, shimmers and neons. I do enjoy that, but on the other hand, I do like that also sometimes, because I do have like a view of which palettes are included in a palette. You know what I mean? Which shades are included in a palette. That is sometimes a really good thing. I feel like this could have been such a pretty color story, and I think if I owned this one, I would definitely find a way. But sometimes if you, like, at least for me, if I have to think about it too long, I will grab something I can use easier. You know what I mean? So this one is a pass for me because of this reason. Again, also, it's like months and months, so nobody would care if I pick it up. But again, the quality of Blend Bunny, really enjoying that one. Let's talk about Glaminatrix. I do own one palette by Glaminatrix. This is the Sugar and Spice, which is a neutral palette. And I do have to say the quality of these shadows, beautiful. If you are a fan of neutrals with a little bit of a pop of something. I saw this one and I was like, this could be, it's the Rich Romantic palette by Glaminatrix, was a release from last year. And I have to say, I did enjoy like watching it, but then I was like, okay, listen, you do have pink palettes, you do have those colors in your collection. And then I saw some rose and I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. Like the shimmers is like making this palette like special. So I was like, maybe I should buy it. And I was like, nah, you know, like I did wanted it, but on the other side I did not. So I was like, listen, I will not pick this up. Again, I do own a lot of the matte colors in my collection, some of the shimmers probably as well. It's still like biting my butts because it could have been like such a pretty color scheme, and I feel like it could have been some palette I really enjoy, especially with the color scheme. But again, I did not pick this up. You can tell me that I am not having a problem with Shroud Cosmetics. I feel like I want to pick up so many things from Shroud. If you don't know, I am like drooling about the Shroud Cosmetics and Beauty Bean collaborations, two at the moment palettes. But in particular, this palette though tickled me a lot, and this is the Dark Academia palette. I felt like this is a really nice neutral palette with pop of green. I absolutely love a pop of green. You know what I mean? So, and then there we have three shimmers that also are a little bit more different, if you will. I did not pick that up because, again, I'm still struggling to get my hands on the Beauty Bean things, and I was like, listen, when I pick this up, I will pick all of them up, and listen, I did not, because I'm still going for it, and still every time it is on Monolith. If you don't know, Monolith is shipping, is a shop, and that is shipping Shroud Cosmetics and in Europe, so I always wait for them to restock, and every single time they are sold out before I have the chance to. So that is a little bit, I would say, stupid of me, but yeah, that's the reason. Also, again, it's a neutral palette with green. I'm not sure if that wants, like, if you want to see that on my channel a lot more, because normally I'm wearing a little bit more of a like fun and colorful way, but I feel like a lot of you are like, we could go also with some neutrals. So tell me down in the comments if you want to see a little bit also into the neutral direction. This one is stupid, I know. Listen, I was so into the Natasha Denona mini dream collection. I thought I would pick up anything from them. I wanted the blush, I wanted the 5-pan palette. I was like, listen, this is a great palette. Like, I do have at the moment the 5-pan palettes by Natasha Denona, to the mini one, the mini love, the mini gold, and the mini trio chrome. And I was like, listen, I should definitely pick up a neutral one as well, you know? And then I remembered that I have like 50 million neutral palettes that I should probably pick up first. Or, you know, yeah, that's the reason I did not pick that up. I did enjoy though the color scheme. There were 3 mattes, 2 shimmers, which I do love. That, you know, medium colors, a little bit of a lighter one, a really deep one. Yeah, I know it is stupid, I know, but I definitely didn't need it. And I was like, but I could, you know what I mean? I could. This one I was like a little bit of a, this could be. It's the Bella Beauty Bar and Deirdre Nicole, I hope it's that right, palette. It's the Ultraviolet palette. It's a whole bunch of purples. I love purple. I never wear purple, but I love purple. It's like a whole thing, you know what I mean? The problem is here, I feel like the lightest shade, which is 1 shade, is not light enough. So I would have like there are a lot of deep tones in there. And I do like some deeps in my palettes, but I feel like this is really deep, which I'm like, listen, I can't pull that up without like bringing me to the point of it's smoky. Just saying. And this today, for example, I love at least one really light purple, or something like really almost white light purple for my inner corner. I did not see that in shimmers or in the mattes. I was like, yes, it's so pretty though, you know, because we do have cool tone purples, warm tone purples. We could definitely go into that direction, but I feel like I'm too pale for that. So yeah, I skipped on that one. This one is still a maybe. Listen, this is horrendous. It's ADP Cosmetics. It's the, well, it's Element 115. Listen, it's so damn cool. It's gorgeous. It's so pretty, but it's also like around the $100 mark, if I'm not mistaken, probably more. Like, I feel like this is a beautiful palette. Do I prefer more mattes over shimmers? Yes, I do. So this is 2 rows of shimmers and then 1 row of mattes. I feel like all of these colors like fit together perfectly. I feel like the color story itself is so damn pretty. We do have some variety, especially with the shimmers. This This is depending because I'm still not sure if I need it in my life. But then again, they release a new palette probably tomorrow. But I'm like, listen, it's so damn pretty. But again, it's also quite expensive. And yes, Monolith is carrying ADP Cosmetics. So it's not an ad for Monolith, by the way. I'm just like loving that they bring all the indie brands to Europe. Absolutely love that. If you know, you know. So this one, I'm still like, oh, I wish I had it. But then again, on the other side, even if I did, what should I do with that? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a skip, or that's why I ended up in this situation. Also, let's talk about Unai. Listen, I enjoyed like the Christmas collection so much. They brought back the Christmas palettes from last year, like the year before. The year before. Was it 2022? Yes, I feel so. And I have to say, I still loved these palettes. They were so damn pretty. Also, like they also added two new palettes, which for me a little bit too neutral, too light. But then we again had these deeper tone palettes with teals and reds, and then the other one which blues and greens. And yeah, listen, I absolutely loved these. The problem again was, and this is like a problem I have because I film YouTube videos, is that there were already reviews out with these palettes from 2022. Like, I don't think, and I feel like no one was asking for them on my channel, that you wanted to see looks with them. I feel like, at least not the majority, let's say like this. So I was like, listen, if I pick them up 1 year later, no one would care if I do a video with separate looks with this. So I did not pick them up. And then the legendary Diversa palettes that released last month, with again the Fancy Face, and it's Makeup Corner and Judy. It's Judy time, I feel like, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's Judy time, or Judy. Like, listen, these are gorgeous. I wish to pick up the one from the Fancy Face. Still my favorite. I don't know. Like last time it was my favorite. This time also Color Story is totally my favorite. The only problem I do have with Unai at sometimes, I was indecisive. I did not buy them on first impact. And the problem is they do take a week to get them to like Germany, because they do like ship them from Sweden to Hong Kong and then from Hong Kong to Germany. So it's not like, oh well, you ship them out and you do the direct route, because their delivery service is in Hong Kong, which totally fine. Listen, don't have a problem with that. The problem is though that when these released, like 20 other influencers had already used these palettes, did some looks with these palettes, had these palettes out for at least a week or not. If you are on the PR list from Unai, you are so lucky, because you get these palettes in advance. So you can take like videos with them, do looks with them. It's so great. But because I just wanted to pick up at least one of them, maybe two, like the pastel palette was also nice by Judy, I was like, if I get these, there are tons of reviews out when they released. They were not like, they are not priority anymore. And if I do looks with them, at least I need a few days to do looks with them. And like, if I do want one look, then, you know, I do at least two days for that, with both palettes, if I decided to do both. So I was like, either way, I can't pick them up, because I don't think you would be interested when I like finished the video, uploaded the video, that you would be interested in that anymore. Because like, again, tons and tons of influencers, YouTubers had their reviews out. Yeah, so I was like, okay, then I don't need to like pick it up at all. Just sometimes I feel like with Unai, especially because they release like these products in PR like weeks ago and you can use them, that's a little bit tricky, to be honest. I do, if I have like the feeling I want to buy the whole collection or two palettes, if there are just two, I feel like then it's worth it, you know what I mean? But because I did not pick up, or I wouldn't have picked up all three palettes, I was like a little bit of yeah, probably not worth it, if you will. So I did not pick this up again. But I feel like I if they release something more and the palette by Judy or by The Fancy Face is still online, I maybe pick that up for myself. You know what I mean? This one, I did a double take on this one. This is the Fantasia Cosmetica palette, and it's the Wizard palette. This is a blue and yellow palette, and I felt like it's so pretty, like the colors. There are great variety between dark, medium, and light colors. I do enjoy that, but then on the other hand, I'm like, listen, why do you use like blue palettes? You know what I mean? I just have like a budget for myself where I'm like, listen, I do want to try new things, but I also like don't want to over budget, because again, don't make money on the YouTube, and I feel like that is totally fine. Listen, everyone that can do that, buy a lot of things, go for it, but I also want to like use these products in like after buying them, not just for one video and then, you know, never look at them again. And this was like a little bit of that. I was like, I do enjoy the color story. I feel like this is a so pretty color story, but again, I do not wear a lot of like blues, so I was like, do I really need that? I decided against it. I'm not sure if that was a good decision though. This one is a color story I really enjoyed. Listen, this is the ADP Cosmetics and Basket Case Beauty, and this is the Monolith Moth palette, and I feel like the color story is really pretty. Did I not pick it up because I don't know where like ADP is from and then shipping on all the good things? That's the reason. Listen, it's a really pretty palette. Again, a color story that is quite unusual, if you will. And I feel like this one was really, really pretty. And I was like, do I really want to try that? Do I really like listen? I did a double take on that. Decided though on the hand that I did not want to pick it up because I feel like the color story is really damn cute. But I am not sure if I would have like used it quite often, to be honest. Sometimes that happens. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't pick it up because I am unsure about this. So that's why I did not pick this up. This one was easy. Listen, I wanted to really have and own the Twilight and Colourpop collection. I was and still am a big Twilight fan. At this moment, listen, if I watch these videos or films, I probably think this is like, wow, why did I like that at the time? But I was really vibing with Twilight. And I did want to pick up the palette, but again, it was sold out in like 5 seconds, and I was like, okay, well, that maybe is like a sign, you know what I mean? And other than this, of course, this is a cool tone palette, which not quite my favorite. So I was like, listen, we're going with that. Like, I mean, like destiny is telling me it's a no for me. Now let's talk about the last palette. I feel like this one, I'm pretty sure it's just because of the palette and it's not because of the colors. This is the new or newest Nabla palette, and this is the Forget Me Not palette. We do have like 4 colors, 1 matte and then 3 other, like one is a topper, one is a more glittery shade, and then we do have like a regular shimmer. Listen, I think I'm drawn to this palette because of the palette itself, not probably because of the shades, but I mean, look at this. If I look at this, this is so damn pretty, and I could like see myself using this, even though I'm not the biggest purple fan. But again, probably just thinking about this palette, and listen, I wish that there would be at least one more matte shade, but on the other hand, you can like just use the palette and like put your own purples in it, you know what I mean? But on the other hand, like, look at this, isn't that pretty? Like, I rambled a lot in this video because again, I'm still loving these palettes at some point, or even still, and I was like, I should maybe pick that up. But on the other hand, I'm like, girl, you don't need to pick that up now. Like now, where nobody would care about any of these palettes though. Yeah, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Please leave down in the comments if you like wanted to pick up any of the palettes, or maybe a totally different palette but then decided against it, and why. Listen, my reasoning between like some of these is like really bonkers, but sometimes you do like feel it, and sometimes you just don't, you know what I mean? Sometimes I feel even it is quite rational that I need a palette, and sometimes like after a week I'm like, listen girl, why did you buy that? That was a horrible idea. So it's like, you know what I mean? So leave down in the comments, how do you feel about the palettes I showed you? Did you like agree with them, or are you like, listen girl, that was a big mistake, buy them immediately? Leave it down in the comments. I would really appreciate also if you do subscribe to this channel and be a part of my small little YouTube family. And I wish you a beautiful week, and we see us in my next video. So bye guys.